With us now to unveil this week's new issue of Time magazine, Time's managing editor, Richard Stengle. Rick, what are we looking at this week?
Well, we're looking at a subject that is bothering millions and millions of Americans, 70 million Americans to be exact. It is the problem of 401ks and why we need to retire the 401k and why it's not working for millions of Americans. If you had $100,000 in your 401k 5 years ago and you had the standard alignment of investments, you'd have less than that now. And what's been a disaster for people with the going into the Great Recession and now coming out of it is that the way the 401k works is that the closer you are to retirement, the less choice you have and the more money you're likely to lose. So people who are retiring were going into their retirement with hardly anything in their 401k.
So, and we hear time and time again people having to work past retirement age, past 65, or some even working into their 70s because their life savings were blown over the past couple of years on 401k.
Right, and in fact there's a quirk in the 401k, which is the closer you are to retirement, the more likely you are to lose money if the stock market goes down because you're putting less money into it. So that's what happened to a lot of people. So we talked to dozens and dozens of people who, who have retired but now have to work.
Yeah. So what do we do instead?
Well, what we propose instead, and that story is by a young business writer of ours named Steve Gandel, is a insurance pension plan, where instead of paying that money into a 401k, 6% of your salary every week or month, you pay it into an insurance plan that guarantees you a pension, basically, for the rest of your life at about a quarter of your salary.
And that seems fair. I mean, the problem with the people who have lost all their money in their 401ks is 401k, isn't it supposed to be what you have when you retire? Why would you put money, 6% of your salary, into something that is a risk?
Well, it's a risk, and then it's also something where you deplete it. I mean, it's basically a bunch of cash that you have when you retire, and you're supposed to take out 4 or 5% a year. I mean,
and everyone
depends on how you.
That's the smart thing to do.
It was for a long time.
There's a whole business. I'm not sure it was. I mean, it's not even 30 years old, right? So you have a whole class of people who have grown up, these investment advisors who take this thing and are telling you to do something that nobody has tested or not. It's like a vaccine that they haven't really tested and they don't know what the long-term influence is.